Everybody, it's Lace, and I just happen to be out here in Diamond Field, my POT. I'm not self-promoting or anything. I'm just going to use it as an example. Way on back, I had said to the devs, did a Dev Plus forum, looked at the Unity code. I'm not a Unity programmer, but I can look through the classes and stuff and see what's out there. And one of the things I noticed is when you take a screenshot, which currently in the game, if you hit F11, it's going to take an automatic screenshot for you. In case you didn't know that, it'll go into your base install directory of where you've installed Soda, by the way, if you want to get shots of those and use them for other things. I tend to forget that I can do that option. I tend to always just take it to Paint and make multiple copies so I can edit them and stuff. But that is another way. When that happens, a certain thing happens in the code is that it captures that in memory. And one of the things I noticed is that, you could set the texture, or quote unquote, inside of a frame. You could set the picture texture to whatever that JPEG or PNG or however, I forget how it copies it. So basically, the idea behind all this was we could make our own pictures to hang on our wall. Like your guild does something, you can take a picture of your guild fighting a dragon and take that JPEG and place it inside a frame and put it on your wall. Now, we haven't gotten that in game yet, and I don't know that we will, but going along with that, the other thing I said is you can set the text to items. We have gotten that. That's our signs. And so that's kind of the first part of what I'm going to go over to is message boards for your forums. Sure, you can put up a bunch of signs. You can hang signs on the wall inside of a castle, and they could all be message boards and stuff. But what I've done now for my particular POT and guild is I put up a sign saying, hey, look, this is now where we're going to have a little message board. Ideally, I'd love to be able to construct a quote-unquote message board out of bark, aka cork, some poles, some wood and stuff, and actually have it look like a bulletin board that either hung on a wall or was actually I'd love a freestanding one because it gives many more options. I've chosen to do all this freestanding, but I want to show you guys what my ideas are because I think it'll be useful for your own player-owned towns and or guilds or even your own little house that you have set up somewhere. So I've cast a little light on the situation, and what I've done is, like I said, I've shown the board. I've set up just a little bookcase, and on it I put two books. The first book is just basically message and vendor listing instructions. The idea was just to be, just a how-to or what we expect of people wanting to put things on this quote-unquote message board, which is just a bookshelf with some books, and the idea is to place the little pieces of paper on them. Which would have the individual messages. And this would be like a sample vendor listing. So if I go into this, the idea would be inside my player-owned town is I list all the vendors out alphabetically by their name, a little description of what they tend to sell, described by those people, not just made up off my top of my head, what they say they're going to sell, and then maybe a directional list of I'm northeast from here, and the here would always be the crafting pavilion as the point of reference since this is where you're reading the book from. Again, if you know the vendor name, you can always go to the town crier and mark them as find this lot, and it will give you the green directional arrow to go there, but this is just another way to do it. And if somebody puts a new place in here and puts a new shop, they're going to need to tell me so I can get them added to the book. Possibly between coalitions and economic regions, maybe you guys work out something where my POT lists your guys that want to advertise here and stuff, and vice versa. That's all going to have to be people related and how they want to do this, but this gives people a one-stop place to look. Here's what's offered in the town, here's who's selling stuff, here's where they're located, here are some friends of ours that may have something you like as well. So that kind of pushes the economic region thing and making friends with your regions by having this vendor listing book. Again, obviously books would have to be books because they have like 8,000 characters and pages have a lot less. My ultimate goal would be a bulletin board, and that's why I first started this, was a way to pass messages to my guildies that they didn't have to go outside of the game, they didn't have to go to the forums, they didn't have to go to our guild forums or anything like this. So I created like a little sample message. Thanks everybody for helping out on The Price is Right. I might leave this little message up for a week or two and remove it. Another example of something somebody might want to list here is, I need help killing this for my XXX skill. You know, can you help? You know, like some of the skills, and they're actually talking about making more and more skills quest driven, where players are going to need help to get those skills. So being able to list this here inside the game, when players are here, they go, oh, I can help you, or oh, I can't help you, or whatever, without having to go fumble outside the game to the forums and things like that to help each other. Now, this is within one community. Of course, you can go to the regular forums or your regular guild forums or whatever and maybe get a little wider audience, but having it here makes it convenient to where you don't have to go see, does anybody need help? Well, they're going to list the help right here. Player 2. Hi, I would like XXX, can anyone help? Blah, blah, blah. And that could be, you know, I'm looking for cotton, or I'm looking for wood, or I'm looking for a trade. And they don't have to go and scramble around trying to find buy orders and this and that and the other. This is this is just a sample of something I'm setting up in my player-owned town. And I think it would be a good idea for other player-owned towns to maybe think about it and do the same. Ultimately, again, I would like a literal court board or message board that is inside the game, outside of the forums, limited perhaps to the text on a piece of paper or to the text in a book, depending on what it is, and being able to post that somewhere. Maybe the board, quote-unquote cork board, could operate like a chest where you can place things in it, read through the listing of them, you know, and the same permissions that a chest is, who can take, who can remove, and stuff like that, and control the same kind of editing style, but maybe just look like a cork board with, little pieces of paper on it. Maybe you can't read those pieces of paper by clicking on them. You have to click the board to open it to see the contents. That would be cool to me, but since we don't have that right now, let me hit this light again. Since we don't have that right now, this is the solution that I've come up with. Just a sign saying, hey, this is what this is for, here's how we're going to do it, and see how it goes. On this lot, the permissions I'm set as a co-owner. I don't actually own this lot. I set a permission on an alt account as only being kindred, and the kindred can place the item. The kindred cannot remove the items, so therefore somebody's going to have to maintain that, and I would suspect that would be the lot owner, your guild leader, or some other co-owner, would say, oh, that doesn't count, you can't put that there, or it's expired, or it's out of date. So you're going to have to kind of manage these things a little bit, and maybe left to right, top to bottom, and kind of keep sliding things up and rotating them. But it's an idea of a way to have a message center. Now, of course, this is my first iteration on this. We haven't even really fully tested it as a guild. It's just a thought, and we're going to try it out and see how it works. You guys may have better ideas, and I'd absolutely love to hear those. See how you try to implement it, or maybe some other people have implemented it a little bit better. I really just don't want a chest there. I want it to look like it is documents for people to read. This especially goes with Wambi and them's, their ISBN listing. I'd like to be able to say what version of the vendor listing this is, with our cover and then the publishing number and stuff like this, because this vendor listing is going to get repeated over time. It'll help us keep track, make sure we're, got the latest one out there or whatever. If we put the sample vendor listing inside of, let's say, a public cache that hospitalers can access, they'll know if they have the most up-to-date one or something like that. But people could, if they really want to collect books, it'd be a way to collect books. We could take outdated ones and throw them in a chest, and people would get a free book out of it, with the caveat that if it's, publishing number 34, it's out of date or something. I don't know. It's just some other little random thoughts that go along with this. And again, the idea with this one, didn't really click that open, but it was to allow us to just give a breakdown. It's not perfectly written because this is really super alpha, and just trying to see how this is going to work and stuff. So that's all I've got on that. This was something I'd kind of thrown out to the devs before, and one part of it was the text on items, and we now have text on items. Maybe someday we'll be able to, instead of just looking at the beautiful artwork there, maybe I can take this screenshot, put it in a frame, and be able to place it on my wall, and then also maybe someday be able to take these pieces of paper and place them on walls rather than just on flat surfaces, to where we could literally have a news news area that says, here's a picture, here's a story, here's what happened on this day that you missed. You could do this in your POT, you could do this in central areas and stuff like that. I don't know, it's a cool idea, I thought, and we've kind of gotten there a little bit better with the signs, and this is how I'm going to work it out for now. So take care, everybody. Happy hunting, and be safe.